Get ready, because in this series I'm gonna feature a ton of older actresses. I got a thing for elderly ladies. Oh, that sounded all manners of wrong. I'm canceling myself. I'm just canceling myself. All jokes aside, buckle up, because in this clip we are going to be discussing the birth chart of former Bond girl and everyone's favorite Dr. Quinn, Jane Seymour. Hey crew, I'm Lexi, your local lightworker. I'm a tarot reader and an astrologer. Welcome to ASTROBABES, the series in which I interpret the birth chart of famous female celebrities for your viewing pleasure. In today's clip, we are going to be looking at the birth chart of the British actress Jane Seymour. This series has a counterpart, Astrohunks, in which I look at the birth charts of famous male celebrities, so I would urge you to please check that out. Also, before we dive into the analysis today, make sure that you like this clip so it gets distributed in the interwebs, and also subscribe to welcome yourself as part of my growing lightwork family. All this being said, I do need to tell you that unfortunately we don't really have Jane's big three placements. The big threes are the Ascendant, Sun, and Moon in a person's birth chart. It's almost like their astrological ID card, if you want to call it like that. Sadly, I looked everywhere, I did some digging, I tried to find her birth time in order to create her birth chart myself. The pre-made charts that I was able to access have no specific ascendant, so it's a big unknown. I do, however, enjoy this image of Jane in Live or Let Die, where she is seen holding the Fool tarot card. She might be playing tricks on all of us by keeping her birth time hidden. So this is gonna be a rough guesstimate analysis. I'm doing it for the fun of it. I'm doing it for the pleasure of introducing to you one of my favorite actresses. I know her from having grown up watching her on television. She is part of one of my favorite comfort series, the famous Dr. Quinn, and I just wanted to share my excitement and enthusiasm for this gorgeous woman. Before I actually dive into the analysis, I also need to tell you a word from our sponsor. There's been times in my life where I felt adrift. It's a very frustrating and helpless feeling. When I feel this way, what I want most is a little direction and insight into what I should be doing. If this sounds like you, then I want to tell you about something people have been using for over 2,000 years to find clarity in their life: astrology. Perhaps you read your horoscope from time to time and find some of the days surprisingly accurate, but getting an astrology reading can be even more profound. A birth chart reading, for example, can tell you where all the planets and stars were in the sky when you were born. This can provide invaluable insight into your personality, strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. Keen provides access to vetted astrology readers who will give you a reading through their app or website. Keen readers are available 24/7. There's always someone online. You can also easily schedule a call with a reader. As a new customer on Keen, you can try your first 10 minutes for only $1.99. Pricing then depends on which reader you choose, and the services are backed with a satisfaction guarantee. Find out if you're on the path to happiness, or if it looks like you're better off steering clear of love, and get your first 10 minutes for only $1.99 by using my link in the description box below. Try keen.com/spiritualsocial. In this video today, I have 5 cherry-picked aspects from her chart. I'm not going to be diving into a traditional, classic, exhaustive analysis of her chart. I can talk about a birth chart for a whole week, maybe a whole month. I am still diving deep into the many nuances of my own natal chart as an astrologer. This is going to be just a very fun, entertaining, and I hope inspiring analysis of 5 key aspects that I think play out very beautifully in her personal life, from what I was able to learn from her and read about her, and also from her public role, the one that is most significant to us, the one that we actually are able to see through her movies and her public performances. Here is her birth chart. Noticed in her birth chart is the fact that we do not have an ascendant. One of the big 3 placements in anybody's chart, and especially in Jane's chart, is missing. The big 3s are the cluster of Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, almost like the astrological ID of a certain individual. And for Jane, unfortunately, we only have data regarding the fact that she's a Sun in Aquarius, conjunct Mercury in Aquarius, and she has a Moon in Gemini. conjunct Lilith, the wild feminine archetype. Whoa, that's a lot of brainy, fast thinking, incredibly intelligent, and also a little bit emotionally detached kind of energy. I think that our Jane can be a bit of an emotional shock in people's lives. Aquarians, they don't necessarily mean to be shocking, but sometimes the things that they say and the way they behave and they act can be so progressive and so out there that, you know, their actions end up rubbing people the wrong way. They are a highly misunderstood sign. They are often outcasts in society. And actually, this gives them a privileged position, because if you're an outsider from society, if you're a bit of a rebel, a bit of a black sheep or a maverick, it's like you get to observe something from the outside, and thereby you get this wonderful perspective of knowing what it is you need to do to change it. So Aquarius suns, like our Jane, are very apt change makers in society. They are the people that swoop in and give us a completely different, out there, super progressive way of coming up with answers to our most pressing societal problems. A lot of innovators, a lot of path breakers and pioneers were born in this wonderful sign that is deeply misunderstood due to the fact that they have certain erratic ways of behaving in personal connections. They tend to stick to one thing, and then as soon as new information breaks through in their awareness, they tend to completely switch sides. And I think this energy is doubly emphasized by the fact that it seems like Jane Seymour is ruled by two highly interesting, super intelligent, great communicator signs, Gemini, Moon, and Aquarius Sun. The fact that she is naturally intelligent, and I would also assume a great teacher for the young generation of actors and actresses, is emphasized by the fact that her Sun in Aquarius is also conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. So the natural ruler of her Moon, her unconscious realm, she has Moon in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and then she has Mercury in Aquarius conjunct her Sun. So there's a very beautiful Mercury bridge established between her solar consciousness, her Sun in Aquarius, and her lunar identity, her Moon in Gemini. Our Jane, with the Sun in Aquarius, was born to break a couple of rules. One of them being that you cannot be a woman and be 70 and be super hot and still acting. Well, she's proving everybody wrong, because there you go. Here is Jane Seymour doing her best. Aquarians also have a very funny, quirky, unique way of distributing information. They can be super serious and incredibly encyclopedic one moment, then they could crack a dirty joke the next moment. They are very versatile. You never get bored around them. They are great teachers because they deliver information in such a natural, fun, and friendly way, and they are open to changing their minds. Although oftentimes the dark side of Aquarius is that if you tend to disagree with what they think, with their values and principles, and you do not create an argument that can convince them otherwise, then they tend to completely block communication with you. They label you as an idiot and move on. So there can be this rather dismissive side that Aquarius energy can sometimes have, this rather me against the world because people don't understand me, or that kind of side where they become a rebel without a cause. But I personally think that due to the other placements in Jane's chart, she doesn't necessarily need to have a cause. I think that she's rebelling predominantly against the patriarchal role that says that a woman cannot be a lot of things. And look at her, there she is. She is all of these things. She is a mother and a working woman, and she's hot at 70 and still active, and this is why I absolutely adore her. The second important placement is the one I mentioned in the first part. It's the fact that she has a Moon in Gemini conjunct the asteroid Lilith. Lilith represents the wild, untamed, sexually elusive, divine feminine aspect. She is considered to be the first wife of Adam, the one that would not submit to his sexual demands, and she completely let go of a domestic life in favor of disappearing into the desert to copulate with demons. That's basically her biblical description, but a lot of progressive feminist thinkers have taken her image to symbolize women's struggle against the patriarchal system and all of these niche ways that men tend to carve for women in society, kind of like pressuring us to fit into a specific box. You're either a Madonna or a whore and nothing in between. Well, how can we be just these two simplistic categories when a lot of us have so many different astrological energies in our birth chart? So I think that Jane has a very feminist kind of thinking. She's a person that likes to inform herself. Moons in Gemini are very witty. They love to read, they love to learn, they love to chat. A moon in Gemini usually relaxes by talking. This is the kind of person, the kind of friend that can sit with you on the telephone for hours on end. This is the kind of person that would quickly reply to your text messages and your calls. This is an individual that loves to educate other people, especially children. Moons in Geminis are especially good at playing with children, teaching them, educating them, mostly because, well, Geminis are kind of children themselves. You know, they're the teenager of the zodiac. So they speak very clearly with other children because kind of they project that kind of energy within themselves. So I see very clearly that Jane is a person that loves to talk. She loves to communicate. She also has a very large family. It completely dumbfounded me when I found out that she has 5 children. I was completely in a state of shock. How can she look so amazing and have 5 children? I mean, you can imagine the physical effort of having to give birth to all of these children. But nonetheless, she seems like a great mom. She has most of the time her family members with her when she's on the red carpet. There's an interesting aspect there regarding her connection, her intimate connection to her close family members and the seesaw she's been experiencing in her life. But I want to finish talking about her moon in Gemini because this moon in Gemini can also show a propensity towards malicious gossip. This is the kind of gossip that can actually harm another person's reputation. So I wouldn't put it past Jane to have said a couple of things in her life that got her in trouble or that may have gotten her close people in trouble. Maybe her relatives, her family members, her children might have been on the receiving end of some emotional or a verbal manipulation from her part, or maybe some gossip that she might have just quipped at the wrong time. I also feel that she might have been on the receiving end of gossip from her friends because of another important placement in her chart, her Pluto and Leo placement, which I'll talk towards the end. But I see here as well that aside from this malicious gossip aspect that could be very possible in the chart of a person that has a moon in Gemini, I also see here that she can be quite dual, okay? So Gemini is the laughing mask and the crying mask of the theater world. Gemini can be quite histrionic. Geminis can be a lot about, I have one vision in front of the public and another vision at home. I show a face that I think will get me the result that I want to get from a specific social situation, while backstage or in privacy, I'm a completely different person. Geminis can sometimes also mention something today and backtrack on that thing that they have just said tomorrow. If you don't believe me, look at Gemini Sun Boris Johnson. Anyway, coming back to the more positive aspects of a moon in Gemini, I also feel that this duality is very beautiful because it can swiftly move her energetically from one feeling to the other. So Jane is not a person that holds grudges. Moons in Gemini rarely do. Their attention span is too small for them to be able to sulk in a negative feeling for years on end. They feel anger one moment and then the next moment something distracted them and they feel happy. So this is an individual that easily cleans her energy by flexibly adapting to social situations. She's also incredibly charming and a great communicator. But this aspect of duality leads me to the third most important point in her chart, the fact that she has a moon in Gemini and also that this energy is squared by her north node in another dual sign, Pisces. Let's talk about that. And I think actually the core aspect of her chart, we see here in her energy, the fact that Jane has North Node in Pisces, conjunct Jupiter, Venus, and Mars in Pisces. Wow, that's a really important stellium sitting right on top at her point of destiny. This is what Jane finds uncomfortable in this lifetime, to feel happy and full of energy, Mars and Jupiter, and to fall into her more feminine, receptive side, Venus there. So we can see very clearly that it took a while for Jane to grow into her willpower, energy, and confidence. Mars conjunct the North Node. It also took her a while to develop her beauty, to kind of grow into this luminous, mermaid-like, very compassionate, soft, feminine energy. Venus in Pisces. She was also destined to become famous, acknowledged by a lot of people, and a highly attractive energy, almost to a cinematic level, because Pisces, ruled by Neptune, rules the silver screen and the world of cinema. And with Jupiter in Pisces, she was supposed to be a world famous person. She was supposed to be known, because when you have Jupiter on the North Node, this shows that this is a lifetime of constant lessons. You are meant to always acquire wisdom and extract it from your relationships, Venus, and also your relationships to men, Mars. You know, when I look at Jane, I keep thinking how I can't get enough of watching her. Whenever I see an image of her, whenever I see her on the screen, it's like she makes my heart so comforted, that she just has this beautiful energy. And I do think it's because my own natal energy in my own natal chart touches upon her own energy in such a beautiful aspect of synastry. Synastry is basically the analysis of two charts, how they collide and what are the intersecting points. And I am a Sun in Pisces conjunct Mercury, and she is a North Node in Pisces conjunct Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. So whenever I see her, even though I'm not physically close with her, all this energy, her stellium in Pisces, gets activated. Why am I mentioning this? Well, because I think it's significant in my attraction towards her, and why I'm actually creating an Astro Babes based on her energy and on her beautiful image. But I also would like you guys to keep in mind these aspects when you feel attracted to a certain actor, actress, performer, or celebrity. There are these attractions that have a very specific astrological energy. And because she has the North Node in Pisces, I'm pretty sure that if we were to meet, she would be equally obsessed with my energy. Because whatever we have as our point of destiny, whatever sign is there, and in whichever house we have this point of destiny, we tend to want more of. So if you have a North Node in Pisces, just like Jane, you would want to just continuously be next to Piscean people, because this is what your soul is hungry to know, to learn, and to grow into. What does it mean to be Piscean? What does it mean to be Neptunian? I want to know. This is what her soul is basically saying. With Piscean energy, the higher-minded, higher vibrational energy, it's not all about looking mermaid-like and being glamorous and very silky and smooth and soft. This is also about growing to become more compassionate, more loving, more humanitarian, to focus on other people rather than your own life goals, to sacrifice of your energy, to give to others without thinking about what am I actually getting out of this situation. So I see very clearly that her energy in this lifetime was meant to tackle the deeper aspects of a Piscean and Neptunian destiny, how to forgive the men that have betrayed her, because she does mention in a number of interviews that she was married 4 times, and every time she never left her husbands, they decided to leave her because they strayed away and they had affairs. So you can imagine the number of times that Jane was faced with needing to let a person go for her own good and needing to forgive the man that has hurt her and disappointed her. All of these themes of letting go, forgiveness, disappointment, and feeling quite emotionally vulnerable are all contained within that really spiritual North Node in Pisces. So I see that increasingly she wasn't really supposed to stay in a specific connection, or she actually chose to work rather than to stay in a specific connection, because she is automatically, if she has a North Node in Pisces, she has a South Node in Virgo. So her comfort zone is the world of work, the world of duty and responsibility, getting up in the morning, sticking to a daily routine. Well, if Jane would have actually let go of the world of work and stepped into her growth zone, this uncomfortable place where she needed to really transform herself, maybe some of these connections wouldn't have strayed away from her. But that required a sacrifice, and that sacrifice would have been let go of your professional role. She is quoted as saying in one interview, "It's hard when you're a mother and you work. It means sometimes you're gone," she said, "and sometimes you may be in a relationship where they would rather that you were there 24/7 and never worked." That hasn't actually been the case with me, but that's the only thing I can look at that I did really wrong. I went to work, but I was providing for the whole family, so it's very hard. You see very clearly this seesaw that she finds herself torn in between the demands of her intimate familiars and the demands of work. The thing is that Jane should have actually let go of work in order for her destiny to be fully fulfilled. She was meant to sacrifice work, duties, and responsibilities in order to become this goddess barefoot in the kitchen that Pisceans are usually considered, this self-sacrificing, virginal Madonna energy that lives so much for other people that she forgets who she is. But realistically speaking, why would you completely sacrifice the entirety of your ego just to live for other people when you might actually mollycoddle them a lot and it might not work for their benefits? You guys know that the trick with these points of destiny, the South Node and the North Node, is to keep working with their blended energies, never to stray too far into one direction because you might lose your point of comfort. But also, don't stay so stuck in the point of comfort that you forget to actually walk the path of your growth. And I don't really see our clever, intuitive, fast-thinking, sociable Jane letting go of work. Why would you do that? Because work in the end is the thing that makes her Sun in Aquarius conjunct Mercury and her Moon in Gemini conjunct Lilith come up to life. So I think the sacrifice was a bit too tough. So this energy of North Node in Pisces, instead of actually playing out in her chart in a domestic, unconditionally loving, goddess in the kitchen kind of energy, it played out in needing to let these men go, needing to forgive them, and walking on her path of becoming this humanitarian actress that plays deeply compassionate roles. One final thing I need to say about her stellium in Pisces is that it is in a Yod position. A Yod is a very strange energy. It is considered by some astrologers as the finger of God, which means that two planets in the chart are actually putting a lot of pressure for her stellium in Pisces to work hard in this lifetime to truly bring her to that point of self-sacrifice, unconditional love, forgiveness, and letting go. So she has two aspects in her chart, two planets that put a lot of pressure on her to fulfill the requirements of her destiny. And these two planets are the final placements I need to talk to you about, her Pluto in Leo and her Neptune in Libra. So the fourth aspect that I really need to talk to you about in Jane's chart is the fact that she has a Neptune conjunct Saturn in Libra. So this speaks about a lot of harsh treatments in personal connections. Her Saturn in Libra is actually quite comfortable. Saturn is the planet of limits, discipline, and effort. It is the planet that is saying, come on, universe, give me something to work with. I'm going to buckle down and do the hard work. And at the end of it, I expect rewards. And Neptune, on the other hand, is the planet of, I'd rather do it tomorrow. I'd rather escape at the moment and be in my own cozy little world. I tend to idealize my partners. I tend to fall in love with the idea of love rather than with the pragmatic reality of being in a long-term connection. So when you have Neptune, the planet that dissolves boundaries, with Saturn, the planet that creates boundaries, in the marriage-prone, communication-friendly, and a pretty polite and educated sign of Libra, then you're going to have the seesaw energy, this push and pull between what do I do? Do I commit to my partners or do I commit to a higher goal, to a higher value? Am I really seeing my partners for who they really are, or am I glossing over important details? So I think that in her connections, she was naturally drawn towards older men, father substitutes, men that might have been quite rich and well established and very pragmatically well settled. And if you have a look at her previous partners, the men that she married, this tends to fit into that pattern that I see here astrologically in her chart. But these men might have cheated on her, covert activities, secrets, and keeping things away from your partner all fall under the domain of Neptune. In addition, I also feel that she might have been on the receiving end of some pretty harsh words. I feel that her partners might have criticized her or maybe made some rude comments regarding how she looks. And I think that Jane might have actually taken this pressure upon herself and always tried to be better, look fitter, be even more radiant, more glowing, more confident than all the other women around her. And I actually think that this Saturn in Libra was all about her truly accepting her femininity, because it resonates quite strongly with her North Node in Pisces and Venus in Pisces. Venus in Pisces is considered by many to be exalted because this is the placement of beauty that comes from inside ourselves, not only how we look on the outside. So this is the perfect marriage of inner and outer beauty. And I feel that through these tough connections with her husbands, where I think that she might have been strongly criticized, but also covertly cheated on, she learned how to become this awesome individual, this person that finally is able to accept herself, accept her vulnerability and her emotions. However, keep in mind that we have that Yod placement, which leads me to the final super significant placement in her chart. So as I said, her stellium in Pisces is strongly activated and in a way pressured by Neptune in Libra, conjunct Saturn in Libra, but also by Pluto in Leo. I'm so excited that I get to finally talk about Pluto in Leo, because most of the time in the Astrohunks and ASTROBABES series, I talk about Pluto in Scorpio, Pluto in Virgos, Pluto in Libras. I talk about people that are kind of closer in age to my generation. But because Jane is 71 years old, and God bless, I hope she lives forever, because she is 71 years old, she is part of the baby boomer generation. So she was born in the 1950s, and this was a period in time when people were born with a lot of hope for the future. Parents actually created children right after the end of the Second World War with a lot of expectations for our children need to grow into their best selves. So baby boomers were brought up into this environment where creative self-expression, being yourself, being radiant, representing the family, and the newly acquired wealth and stability of the family that had managed to survive the war was actually the obsession. So we see here with Jane as well that she has this energy, and I wouldn't put it past her to actually have Pluto in Leo in the first house, and maybe she has a Virgo ascendant, a south node there, which gives her this kind of angelic luminous energy. I would also think that she could potentially have an ascendant in Gemini, which gives her that witty, sociable, and very symmetrical energy about her face, her features especially, and would also place her moon on the ascendant, which gives her these luminous big eyes. So I would say that she is either a Virgo ascendant or a Gemini ascendant, and definitely her Pluto in Leo is very closely parked next to her ascendant, because that gives her this dangerous beauty kind of energy. It also gives her a lot of female empowerment, this attitude that you cannot fence me in, you cannot hold me down, because Pluto, naturally ruling the sign of Scorpio, is this energy of I transform you in a very subtle and emotional way. So as a representative of this Pluto in Leo generation, Jane has this attitude of I'm going to show you how I succeed against all odds. So in a way, she is really working up that Pluto in Leo energy by showing us how successful she is, how sexy she is, what a great mother she is. Her public image is very strong, and very few people have challenged her throughout her career. It seems that she really has projected very strongly this image of I'm really powerful and successful even at 70 years old. And I really like this about her, although I do need to say that I think that with Leo energy there, this is the energy of you'll never catch me crying, you'll never catch me being weak, or with salad in between my teeth, or in a paparazzi picture when I'm just stumbling out of bed without my hair being done. I'm going to show you how I am the powerhouse. There is a little bit of a competitive streak here within her, and there is a lot of look at me kind of energy, because Leo energy tends to be this energy of let me show you how good I am, let me show you how skilled I am the best, and I'm going to prove it to everyone else. But at the same time, higher-minded Leo energy is all about the heart. And I think that this is how Jane can actually work up the energy of her beautiful Yod, the finger of God, right? So these two planets, Neptune and Libra. Neptune, again, highly spiritual energy. Libra, the sign of love and marriage and partnership. Pluto and Leo, transformation from the realm of the heart and from the realm of your creative self-expression, pressuring her stellium in Pisces, Jupiter there, Venus, Mars, and the North Node to become a magnetic powerhouse of creativity, love, and unconditional acceptance. Yeah, no pressure, Jane. Leos in general love to receive attention, but they also like to image control a lot because they don't want to be caught when they are weak in a salacious picture or when they are sick. This really hurts their pride. So Leos really do a lot of damage control in their social relationships, potentially even paying some people off so that they come across in a very good light. Nonetheless, having said these things, because I do want to also keep a balanced perspective on the personalities of the people that I present you here, I do think that Jane is really working at her best at Pluto and Leo energy. She is warm, exuberant, highly intelligent, and defiant. And this is why I absolutely love her. Okay, this is what I had for you. It's a wrap up. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you enjoy Jane? What are your favorite movies with her? What do you think about her birth chart? Is there something that you noticed that you would like to clarify for the whole collective? I'd love to read your comments. So comment down below. Also, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. I have a ton more videos coming your way. Yeah, that's my Eastern European background. I am super happy to have you as part of my crew, and I cannot wait to see you in my next one. But before you go, I do need to remind you to click the first link in the description box. It takes you to the website of our sponsor, the wonderful people at Keen, and you also get to try out their discounted fees. So take advantage of that, guys, okay? I love you so much. See you in my next one. Mwah.